my crafters. How is everyone doing? I hope you are well. I am. We are in a situation where we have lots of time to think, to do things, and that's why I created something for you, something special. And what I did for you, I created step-by-step tutorial for you to create this beautiful shadow box. I dedicated this box to all the stars that I have enjoyed all my life, whether they are singers or actors or whoever may be. So this is dedicated to them. You can see there's a star inside of the box and they're like beautiful images, but how could I create this beautiful thing without beautiful products and papers? And Graphic 45 are just a company that it seems like they always know what to create, and I always feel they create products especially for me, because each collection they come out is special, and it's like it looks like my name is written on every collection that I make. And for this product I chose Vintage Hollywood collection, and it's the right collection for what I wanted to make. Okay, now let me explain you about this thing. It's a shadow box, and inside you see stars and like images from chipboard sheets, and all the images are from papers. And here I decorated, I matted the sides of the box with papers, and then here on the bottom, like they're like feet corners, also from Graphic 45, and like it's really such a beautiful home decor piece. You can have it displayed in your home instead of like putting in the middle what I did, like a star. You can choose like photo of your family or whatever you want to do and just decorate it. So I invite you to watch my step-by-step tutorial, and I give you all the dimensions for how to create the box and how to decorate everything. You can create this beautiful piece by following this YouTube tutorial. So I invite you, or better, I challenge you to make this beautiful box. And I hope to see you in my step-by-step tutorial. First, what you will do is cut 2 pieces of chipboard at 11 by 11.5 inches. And I'm working with 1.5 millimeter chipboard. That's how thick it is. Measure from side edges 7/8 of an inch. It's right here. And then from top and bottom edges, measure 1¼ of an inch. And what you're gonna do, draw lines, and then you're gonna take a ruler and craft knife and align your ruler with edges, and then you will just cut out this area to create a frame. This is how your piece should look. And next you're gonna cut panels for this frame, and you're gonna create like a tray with this frame on top of it. Here are both pieces, and what you're gonna do next is you're gonna glue both pieces down, both pieces together. So why I'm doing this is because if I would work only with 1.5 millimeter chipboard, the piece wouldn't be so sturdy, and it just wouldn't last so long. And now take your bone folder and just press like really hard to make sure that both pieces are glued together very well. Okay, and to make sure that they're really gonna be glued well, just take some paper clips and just go and put them around the edges. Like here, like on the side edges, I like to use larger clips. Now give it some time for both pieces to glue together very well. After that, you're gonna take these clips off and just put it under weight to make sure that they're really glued together. And in the meantime, I'm gonna make walls for this tray. So now we are gonna make 4 walls for that piece. We have 2 short and 2 long walls. So for each wall, for short walls, we will need 4 pieces, and for long walls, 4 pieces. So again, you know, you are gonna glue both pieces together. That means 2 pieces of chipboard for each wall. For shorter wall, you will need to cut 4 pieces at 3 by 11 inches, and for a longer wall, it's like 3 by 11 and a quarter of an inch. Now all pieces are glued together. What you're gonna do next is take your sanding block and just sand the edges. This is just the reason why I do this is to make edges smooth and even, and it's gonna be easier to then adhere them down on this base here. Next, you will adhere all these panels on this base. First, you're gonna take one smaller panel and just apply glue on one long edge of the chipboard. There we go, like that. Don't worry if there is some excess of glue. You're just gonna wipe it later. Okay, and then line both edges of both pieces together and just press down. Next, you will take both long panels, and you're gonna apply glue on one long and one short side. After your tray is assembled, take sanding block or sanding paper to smooth out the edges and the whole box. And now what you can do, it's optional. Usually I normally don't do, but I'm just gonna show you what you can do. Just take a tape and you can place your tape at the edges just to secure the box from not falling apart. But my boxes never fall apart because I use very strong glue, and you can see it's very, very sturdy. And then when I cover it, it's very secured. So normally I don't do that, but just to show you what you can do if you want to. So you just go all around and place here and there some pieces of tape. Next step is covering the tray. You can cover your tray with cardstock, a paper, book cloth, or a fabric, so whatever you desire. Right now I'm gonna cover my box with book cloth, but because this box is too large, and book cloth is normally 1 meter long, and this box is a little bit too large, I will have to cover it with 2 pieces. What you will do, what I'm gonna do at this point is here I'm gonna measure half of an inch for a tab, and then I'm gonna start covering this tab and then go all around. And here, you know, for this part my book cloth will be too short, so I will have to cut another piece and just cover then the bottom area. Use your bone folder to smoothen the book cloth or the paper or fabric, and if there are some bubbles underneath, you just smooth that bubbles out. And you have to make sure that your covering material is large enough to fold around the top and bottom edges of your box. I covered all 3 panels of the tray, and now I'm gonna cover the bottom part. Okay, so here is an optional thing. You don't have to do it, but as you can see here, fabric or whatever you have, I like to cover this piece with like piece of cardstock, just to make it even with a book cloth on the side, because then when I'm gonna cover the bottom part, it's not gonna be bulkiness here on the side. So that's the reason why I'm covering this with chipboard. I mean with cardstock, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So all outer edges are covered, and now you're gonna wrap your binding, no, it's wrapping material around inner edges of the frame. Here you just measure from one edge to the other edge of the fabric or whatever you have, and in length and then in height, and you will see then how it's gonna look. This is finished tray and it should look like this. And next I will create 2 frames that will be attached from the inside of this tray, and cut 2 pieces of chipboard at 10 3/4 by 11 1/4, and from side edges measure 1 inch and 1/8, and from top and bottom edges measure 1.5 inches. So you need 2 pieces for this. I already cut out one, so it should look like that. And now I'm gonna cut this one. You will cut out these frames the same way as you did for the tray. This is how your frame should look. And before you cover it with material of your choice, you will have to put it inside and see if it fits. If not, then you're just gonna have to maybe cut it around edges. So you want to make sure it fits, and then you take it out again and cover it. Next fabric or book cloth or whatever you have, it has to be in a different color to match colors in the paper, and cut it the same size as your frame. All right, and apply glue. And now you're gonna cut the fabric. And leave a border around edges. Here we go. For next step, you will create again frame, and for this frame you will also need 2 pieces of chipboard. At this one should be 10 3/4 by 11 1/4, and from side edges you have to measure 5/8 of an inch, and from top and bottom edges you have to measure 1 inch. And so now I'm gonna cut out the frame, and when the frame is cut out, I will come back. Okay, both pieces of this frame are glued together. Next, what you're gonna do is cut a fabric or a book cloth, whatever you prefer for your covering material. But this piece should be lighter than the frame that will go from the other side of the box. I mean, the frame that you created earlier. Okay, so if you want to cover your frame with fabric, then you have to cut it a little bit larger around the edges. And then you have another option. If you don't like this step with covering your chipboard with fabric or other material, then you can just go and cut cardstock in a color that you want, the same size as the frame, and then just place your cardstock on top of the frame, and that's it. So if you don't want to do what I do. So the frame is covered with lighter fabric that I covered earlier. I'm gonna show you the one from before. So this is here. Okay, this is not glued all the way down yet. It's gonna be, I'm gonna glue it later. I will show, you will see why. So if you want to put this one back inside, you will see it's a little bit darker, and this one will go on top of the whole tray or box or however you want to call it. So that's how it's gonna look so far. So you can see this one is lighter than the frame from the inside of the box. And next, what I'm gonna do is decorate around here the edges, and this is the next step. I will start slowly decorating the box. You have to decorate the box in so many different steps. While I will be decorating, you will get an idea why. This image I cut out from 8x8 pad, and there I'm gonna show it to you how it looks. It's right here. Then you have to cut cardstock a little bit larger to create a border around the tag, and use a glue. This is the same glue that I use for, it's the same, just in smaller bottle with fine tip. It's the same that I use for assembling the box. Now take your box with bottom frame inside, but not adhere down. You just have to leave it inside the way you will want to be adhered later. And now take your image and just place it here on a left bottom corner. So I want it to be like, I want this star to be shown, and that's how you do it. And then take your pencil and just mark with a pencil here and down here and here. You make marks. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when you have, like, here is a mark, and down here and here, and you're gonna put glue from the pencil mark and here down from pencil mark, and this will be area that will be covered with glue. So I'm gonna do this right now. Now push bottom frame against upper part of the box to allow this image to stick. Okay, so now you can remove. Oh, okay, now you can remove this thing. Okay, and this is the way how it should look. I already removed bottom frame, and what you're gonna do next is turn the box around, or tray, or however you want to call it, and put lots of glue here around these edges. Edges around the area. Yeah, just make sure you apply enough glue for good stick. If you don't have enough glue, then the frame's it's not gonna stick well. I just want to give you a quick tip here. This area of this image that is not adhered will bend over time. So if you want to prevent that, you can cut a piece of chipboard and just glue it behind it, and it's gonna give it a support. So I'm gonna do this right now. Before you glue the chipboard behind the tag, just ink the edges with black. With black ink. Now I will glue upper frame on the top of the box. At this step, you're gonna create inside panels, but these panels these panels will go inside around all these walls, and you will need 4 panels at 1.1 1/4 inch by 10 3/4 inch, and then you will need 4 panels at 1 3/4 by 11. So these larger panels will go on side walls, and the smaller panels will go on top and bottom. I think so. Let me check. Yeah, they will go right here. Yeah, the smaller ones go on the bottom and on top, and then the larger ones go on the side. What you're gonna do is adhere 2 pieces together for each panel, the same as you did for the box when you created the panels for the box. So create all this, glue all these pieces together, 2 for each panel, and when I'm done with gluing, I will be back. Take your ink pad and ink edges. I'm using black ink pad. And before that, you have to sand the edges. So all the edges need to be put panels together, and see, all the edges has to be the same height. If they are not the same height, it's not gonna work for what you're gonna do next. It will, but it's really very important that all of them are the same height. After all panels are glued together, take pattern paper. If you want to, you can ink edges and then adhere each paper on panel. And when you are done doing this, I'm gonna show you what to do next. Here are all your panels covered with paper, and next you will adhere those panels to the inside of the box. What I didn't tell you before, you can still do this at this step, but try, before you adhere them down, try to place them inside to see if they fit. Sometimes you will still need to do some cutting. This is bottom panel. Top panel is right here and goes right here. And you will see later why these panels are important. And here is right, goes on this side. All right. Okay, see, they fit perfectly. Okay, it's very good if they're tight. They really need to be tight. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look. If everything is the way you like it, just take them out and glue them one by one. And first you're gonna glue bottom and top panel, and then after that you're gonna glue side panels. So I'm gonna do this now and be back. Here you can see inside panels adhered to the inside of the box. This is how it looks, and look how it looks from, I don't know if you can see, from the front. So next, what you are gonna create is back wall. For back wall, you will cut 2 pieces of chipboard at 10 3/4 by 11 1/8 inch, and you will adhere both of these pieces together. But for this one, you will use score tape instead of wet glue. So now take your box, and before doing anything else, just place your pen into the box. That's how it has to fit like perfectly. If it doesn't fit, if it still needs some cutting, then just take it out and trim a little bit until you get the result that you want. So that's how it's gonna be. And look from the front, and this is how it looks so far. And take it take it out. And next, what you're gonna do is take a piece of paper. You can pre-cut it. You can cut it the same size as you did for panel. Oh, and first what you're gonna do is take your score tape again and apply score tape on entire chipboard piece, and I'm gonna be back later. Chipboard is covered with score tape, and now slowly peel off one strip of the tape, and then place your paper on top, and be sure your edges of both pieces of paper and chipboard are aligned very well. Okay, don't glue it down yet. Just make sure like these two edges, side edge and bottom edge, are aligned. Okay, it's perfect. And now you press to adhere the paper down. This step is optional. If you like it, then just go and fast forward my video, and you will see if this is something that you want to do. If it's not, then just instead of star, you can make something else. You can just place your photograph or whatever you want in your shadow box. But if this is something you want, then watch what I did. First, draw a star, and this star is approximately, I'm gonna give you exact dimensions. It's 7 3/4 of an inch, and then down here is, let me see, and from here is 7 1/4 of an inch. So it's 7 1/4 of an inch high and 7 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay, so that's it. You draw a star and then measure 1/4 of an inch around the star. This is 1/4 here. So you do this everywhere, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw larger star. This is your star, and next what you're gonna do is take your craft knife and a ruler and cut out the star. First cut out along outer edges, and when you are done, cut along inner edges. I'm gonna do it right now, and when I'm done I will be back. This is how your cutout star should look, and what we are gonna do with it next, it's gonna be so nice. Now that your star is cut out, you will trace around outer edges 2 times, and then you will take 2 chipboard pieces, and then you will trace around inner edges. When you are done, here are both stars, and both pieces of chipboard adhered for each star. Now you are gonna take large star and you will cover it. But you also have one more option. If you don't want to cover the star with fabric, you can cut out cardstock in the same size as the star and just put it on top of it. Before doing that, you have to ink edges with black ink. So that's what you're gonna do now. And here you can see is a fabric that I cut out in the same color, with the same color as outer frame. Okay, well, how you do it? You put a frame, you put a star on top of the fabric, and then you just cut it a little bit larger at the edges, because then you are gonna cover this around the edges. Here you can see both stars wrapped in fabric. You cannot achieve that beautiful look with paper, so I recommend some lighter material like fabric. As you can see, they're like really nicely wrapped. And put these stars on the side, and then cut 2 pieces of chipboard at 8 by 8 inches and glue them together, and then on the back apply score tape. And then you have to wrap chipboard piece in fabric, and when you are done with wrapping, cut piece of paper at 7 7/8 by 7 7/8 of an inch and adhere the paper on top of chipboard, actually your fabric, and that's how it's gonna look. Cut an image from 12 by 12 paper, and this image is, I cut it down to 2 1/8 of an inch by 5, and then cut chipboard piece at 2 inches and 1/4 by 5 inches and 1/8 of an inch. Here you have 2 options. You can cut cardstock at the same size as chipboard and place it on and glue it down on chipboard and ink edges with black ink, and then adhere this piece on top, or you can wrap a chipboard piece in fabric, in black fabric. That's what I'm gonna do, but you can do whatever you like better. This is covered chipboard piece, and this is an image, and when you will adhere an image on top of it, you will see there's a little border around it. I can take your glue. Take your box. You will adhere this image behind bottom frame. What you're gonna do, take your pencil, just place your image the way, at the desired position, like that, and then go and mark with your pencil the area that will be adhered behind the frame. And next, what you're gonna do, you're gonna take heavy body gel. You can take glue, but heavy body gel will be better to stick this piece down, because this holds things very well in place. Just take a piece of chipboard and take body gel from the jar and just place it here on the area that will be attached behind. Now you have to cut a piece of chipboard at 9 by 1.5 inches. So again, you can cover the chipboard with black fabric, or you can cut black cardstock with the same measurements and just place it on top of the chipboard, and then cut out a border from 12 by 12 paper. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue it down, actually only at the bottom section of this piece. Now you have to cut out, you have to cut 2 pieces of chipboard at the same length as this piece, and it's 5/8 of an inch, and you're gonna glue this both pieces together. Then you have to use heavy body gel, and you're gonna apply the gel on one side, first one on the bottom part of the chipboard, and glue the piece on top portion of this larger piece. At this point, you will have to apply heavy body gel on top of the chipboard. Take your box and you will adhere this piece on top, to the inside of the box here on top section, and press very hard with your fingers. At this step, you're going to decorate the front of your back wall. Take your chipboard piece that you created earlier and adhere it down to the back wall. And then what you're gonna do is take your stars and put a piece of chipboard in the middle part of each star. This is gonna be to give a little more 3D look to your project. And when you are done, we are going to go further with the project. Oh, and one more thing. Then take your ephemera card, cut the chipboard at the same size as your ephemera card, and adhere your card to the chipboard. And then put everything on side, and we are gonna decorate. We are gonna continue with decorating. Your page is finished. I mean page, you can call it page, but it's actually the wall that goes inside of the shadow box. But what I realized, I should have done that earlier. I didn't mat on the back of the page. So, but there's no problem. Just cut out cardstock, black cardstock, the same size as your chipboard, and apply score tape, and then just adhere that to the page. So how I'm gonna do it right now, it's like I'm gonna remove one strip of score tape and then just align, oh gosh, and then I will just align the edges of both pieces. All right, okay, everything is aligned, and I'll just press here and remove the rest of the tape backing, and then just adhere the cardstock to the chipboard. So put this aside, and what you're gonna do next is before you attach the wall into the box, you will have to mat the whole box. Cut 3 pieces of paper for side and top walls of the box. Take 1 piece of paper for one side wall. Do you remember earlier you had to put inside walls in your box? Now you're gonna do it again, but just in a smaller version. But those walls will be behind the page. After your page is gonna be assembled, it's gonna be behind it. You're gonna see it later. But first, what you need to do is cut 4 pieces of chipboard for a long wall and 4 for short wall, and then glue 2 pieces of each together. Then you're gonna end up with 2 pieces for short wall and 2 pieces with long wall. So you have to adhere both. You have to glue 2 pieces of each pieces. First, take your small pieces for smaller walls and apply glue on one side of the chipboard. Now take your box and apply very, very strong glue around the edges. It really has to be strong glue around the edges of inside walls. So both bottom and upper walls are adhered, and next what you're gonna do, you're gonna adhere side walls to the side of the box. inner walls are attached to the box, and this is how it should look. It's optional what you can do next. You can decorate them. I mean, you can mat them with paper, and you can also mat the back side of the page. You can mat it with paper, or you can also create a page. You can put some pictures right here or whatever you want to. And also what I did here on the top and on the side, at first I thought I would only mat the top and side edges of the box, and I mean top and side walls of the box. But then later I also decided to mat the bottom of the box. So you do all, because you know the paper were left in the same size as this wall, so I was like, why to throw it away? So I just decorated, I just mat it down here. And now I'm gonna decorate the outside of the box. So here, the bottom part first. Later, I'm gonna put some chipboard piece right here on the top, but first I'm gonna put these feet corners. All 4 feet corners are attached. Just leave them on for a while to make sure they're really attached, that they're not gonna fall off. All feet corners are attached. Just leave them for a while to dry. And at the end, what you're gonna do is take this chipboard embellishment, adhere the bottom piece, and then put 2 pieces of chipboard in the middle, and then the middle part of the embellishment adhere on top of chipboard pieces, so to create like 3D look. I hope you can see this. There we go. Our box is finished, and I hope you enjoyed making it. So that's all for today. Ladies, thank you for watching my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and mostly I hope you created a beautiful piece that you're gonna cherish for years to come. And see you next time. Bye bye.